On New Year's Day, my fiancé took me to try on wedding dresses. I came out in a gown, and he dropped to one knee to give me the romantic proposal we'd never had. Just as I was moved to tears, a manipulative salesgirl piped up. "You'd look even better with a few more pads in the chest, ma'am." My face fell as I went to change out of the dress. Then she added, "And maybe change your perfume? That one smells a little like BO." Seeing my anger, she quickly covered her mouth and giggled. "Oh, I'm just giving you some friendly advice because I feel like we have a connection." Not only was she taking digs at me, but she then accidentally spilled coffee on my fiancé's pants and, wearing a tight pencil skirt, knelt to wipe it off for him. But to her surprise, my fiancé, Jason, took a step back and dialed 911. "Officer, I'd like to report an employee at Eternity Bridal for solicitation." Jason's face was cold as he spoke into the phone. Brittany, still kneeling on the floor, looked completely stunned. It seemed she hadn't expected Jason to be immune to her act. She scrambled up and tried to throw herself into his arms to grab the phone, but Jason sidestepped her, and she went sprawling, face planting on the floor. She sat there, her eyes turning red. "Sir, I'm so sorry. I was just trying to clean the stain off your pants. I didn't mean anything else by it." With tears welling in her eyes, she turned to me. "Ma'am, it was an accident. Could you please tell him for me?" I knew she did all of this on purpose. From the moment we walked into the shop, she'd been overly friendly, but her words were laced with backhanded compliments. On the surface, she was praising me, but if you thought about it for a second, you could tell she was just tearing down my appearance. Not only that, but she kept sneaking glances at Jason and trying to subtly find out who he was. I didn't think much of it at the time and just gave her some vague answers. But looking at it now, she was probably sizing him up from the second we walked in. I stared at her, my expression grim. "You've got some nerve calling me ma'am, when you look older than I do. And my fiancé's pants are custom tailored. You think a simple 'it was an accident' is going to cover it?" Brittany pouted, stood up, and moved closer to Jason, deliberately showing off her chest. "Sir, I really didn't do it on purpose. How can she be so aggressive? I'm just a regular working girl." If it had been any other man, he probably would have seen her act, let her off the hook, and maybe even criticized me. But my fiancé is a total pro at spotting these kinds of games. The second she finished speaking, Jason called his assistant to prepare the paperwork for reimbursement. Soon, the assistant arrived with the receipt and documents. Jason's custom suit cost at least $75,000. When Brittany heard the amount, her eyes widened in shock. Her mouth twitched, and she put on that pitiful, on the verge of tears face again. "Sir, you're really going to make me pay?" She moved forward and grabbed Jason's arm. He flinched as if he'd been touched by a snake and shook her off. "Get away from me. Who are you calling, sir, like that? Don't be so familiar." Tears streamed down Brittany's face. $75,000 might be nothing to your fiancé, but for me, it's more than my entire life savings. Still taking jabs at me. "Fine," I said coolly. "We'll take legal action." Brittany's face went pale, and she dropped to her knees. "Ma'am, please don't be angry. It's all my fault. I shouldn't have bumped into your fiancé, but I really don't have that kind of money." Her words were clearly designed to make everyone else think I was just being jealous and targeting her. Sure enough, a few other customers who were trying on dresses started to gather around. But I wasn't about to let her win. I squeezed out a few tears of my own. "You were 30 feet away from my fiancé, but the coffee still managed to splash onto his pants. Thank God it was an iced Americano. If it had been hot coffee." I trailed off, letting the onlookers imagine the rest. Faced with the suspicious glares from the crowd, a flicker of resentment crossed Brittany's face. She lifted her head, her eyes rubbed red to make her look even more pitiful. "Ma'am, you seemed a little upset from the moment you came in. I was just trying to hurry to get you a coffee, and I didn't expect to spill it on Mr. Clark." She covered her mouth. "We're both women. Shouldn't we be helping each other? Why do we have to tear each other down? I was speechless. As soon as she said that, I could see some people in the crowd looking at me with disapproval. Then she squeezed out a few more tears. She was trying to get Jason's sympathy, even letting out a few dramatic sobs. In reality, her act wasn't winning any points with Jason, it was just making him more annoyed. Seeing that Jason was unmoved, Brittany reached out to tug on his pant leg. The instant she moved, Jason backed away. Trying to pull a scam on me is one thing, but now you're trying to pull one on my wife? You keep calling her ma'am, but you have more wrinkles than the old lady at the door. Do you have any shame? My wife looked stunning in that dress, and you kept tearing her down. Did you really think I couldn't hear what you were doing? Jason's words left Brittany completely speechless. Just then, the police finally arrived. Who called about someone soliciting here? Seeing the officers, Brittany started crying again. Jason went over to explain the situation and requested the store's security footage. Only the owner and the manager had access to the cameras, so the police had them call the owner. Brittany couldn't keep up the crying act anymore and had to cooperate with the police to get the footage. When the video was played, it clearly showed Brittany pretending to fall to spill the coffee on Jason's pants. And then she immediately knelt, reaching out to touch my fiancé with a seductive look on her face that was perfectly captured by the camera. Officers, I'm his actual fiancé, standing right here, and she just throws herself at him like that. It's hard not to suspect she's offering special services. I glanced at the pale-faced Brittany as I spoke. Her hands were clenched into tight fists, her nails digging into her palms. She dropped to the ground and started bowing her head to me. Ma'am, I know I was wrong. Please, I'm begging you, don't spread rumors about me. If this gets out, how will I ever get married? She cried a river of tears, making anyone who didn't know the full story think I was the one bullying her. Some of the men in the crowd were already looking at her with sympathy. Then, Brittany, still on the floor, looked up at Jason with tear-filled eyes. Mr. Clark, do you have any idea how serious an accusation like that is for a girl? You've really misunderstood me. Jason took another step back. Miss, please don't insult my intelligence with your pathetic acting. You'll pay for the damages, every last cent. Seeing that her act wasn't working on Jason, Brittany turned to the police. Officer, I swear I wasn't soliciting anything. She's slandering me. The officer sighed. They only said they were suspicious. But you did damage the pants, so you are obligated to pay for them. Finally, seeing our firm stance, Brittany lost all hope and agreed to pay. However, just as we were about to head to the station to file a report, she took advantage of the crowd at the entrance, lunged forward, and knelt in front of me again. She raised her voice deliberately. Ma'am, I heard you're very involved in charity. I come from a poor family, and my mom passed away when I was little. Could you please let me pay in installments? I really can't afford $75,000 for a pair of pants. The crowd started murmuring, and one man boldly spoke up for her. So what if you're rich? Ganging up on a young girl like this. I knew arguing at that moment was pointless. So, I agreed to her payment plan. After signing the repayment agreement at the police station, I was in no mood to look at wedding dresses. Jason could see I was upset, so he took me out for a nice dinner. That evening, I had a bit of a headache and was resting on the sofa. Jason's phone, sitting on the coffee table, started vibrating non-stop. I opened my eyes, frowned, and picked it up. I know all of Jason's passcodes. I unlocked the phone and saw a notification from someone named Brittany with a cute profile picture sending an image. I opened it and saw a revealing, sexy photo of Brittany. 3 minutes later, she sent an oops emoji. Sorry, that was for my best friend. So embarrassing, please delete it. Don't want your fiancé to get the wrong idea. My face hardened. I grabbed the phone and marched straight to the bathroom. Jason was just stepping out of the shower. Seeing my expression, he looked worried. Honey, what's wrong? Are you not feeling well? When did you add her? See for yourself. I shoved the phone at him. Jason looked like he was facing a crisis. When he saw the screen, he practically saw red. Honey, listen to me, it's not what you think. When you were trying on dresses today, she came up and said she'd help me sign up for a membership and needed to add me on WhatsApp. I didn't think anything of it. She's hideous. Not even half as beautiful as you. Don't worry, I'll deal with her right now. This will never happen again. Then, right in front of me, Jason sent her a voice message. Are you insane? Have you no shame? My profile picture was designed by my wife. It's one of a kind. You're deliberately trying to ruin my relationship. I'm telling you, if you send me anything like this again, I'm calling the police. After sending it, he immediately blocked and deleted her. Once he was done, Jason spent the next few minutes professing his loyalty to me. And I believed him. We met in college and have been together for 4 years. We might not be able to read each other's minds, but we've always been completely honest with one another. The next morning, to prove his unwavering loyalty, he woke up early despite barely sleeping to make my favorite breakfast. I didn't wake up until 10. After eating the breakfast Jason made for me, I was getting ready to head to the gym when I saw a file on the table. Remembering a project at his company, I decided to deliver it to him myself. It was already noon by the time I got to his office. I'd picked up some of his favorite takeout and went straight to his office. But when I opened the door, I saw something that made my blood boil. Brittany was lying right on top of Jason's chest. Jason's sleepy eyes suddenly shot open. Realizing someone was in his arms, he jumped up in a panic. Without a second thought, he kicked her off of him. Brittany landed on the floor with a delicate cry. Before Jason could explain, she spoke first. Ma'am, don't get the wrong idea. We're just friends. Who the hell is friends with you? How did you even get into my office? Jason rushed over to me, holding up his hand as if to swear an oath. Honey, I have no idea how this woman got in here. You have to believe me. Brittany got up from the floor. Ma'am, it's my fault. Jason and I are just friends. He wasn't feeling well, so he asked me to give him a massage. Please don't misunderstand. Her scheming was so obvious it was practically slapping me in the face. I ignored her and looked at Jason, waiting for an explanation. Seeing my stern expression, Brittany stepped in front of Jason, trying to shield him. Ma'am, if you're going to blame someone, blame me. Don't take it out on him. He's such a gentle person, he doesn't deserve this. I laughed coldly. Deserve what? We're in a relationship. I don't need some random person who crawled out of the woodwork telling me how to act. Brittany bit her lip, and tears started to well up. Jason, I was just trying to defend you. I didn't want her to misunderstand. We didn't do anything wrong. This whole performance was just a ploy to drive a wedge between Jason and me. She wanted to show him that I was hot-tempered and that she was the gentle, caring one. That way, she could score points with him. But she seemed to have forgotten how she was humiliated at the police station yesterday. Jason shoved her away and called security. Are you delusional? I have nothing to do with you. You broke into my office without an appointment and laid on top of me. That's illegal. I could call the cops right now. At the mention of the police, Brittany immediately shut up. Soon, security guards arrived and took her to the police station to file a report. After she was gone, Jason, terrified I might still misunderstand, took me to review the security footage. On camera, Brittany was seen talking to the receptionist. They seemed to know each other. The receptionist then secretly slipped her an elevator keycard for Jason's floor. In the office, Jason, exhausted, was taking a nap on the sofa. Brittany used this opportunity to sneak in. The first thing she did was greedily scan the office. Then she took off her coat, revealing a silk slip dress, and walked toward Jason. After considering her pose, she threw herself onto his chest. And that's exactly when I walked in with lunch. Jason cursed under his breath as we watched. This woman is disgusting. Doing something like this while I'm asleep. I'm going to make sure she spends some time in jail. I frowned and pinched his arm. How deeply were you sleeping? Someone walks into your office making all that noise and you don't hear a thing? Ouch. Jason yelped in pain. Honey, let me explain. I didn't sleep well last night, and I felt a little stuffy this morning, so I took some cold medicine. I had no idea it would be that strong. He mumbled pitifully. Knowing his personality, I just snorted. To prevent this from happening again, Jason issued a company-wide order. If Brittany was ever seen near the building, she was to be removed immediately. Brittany was taken to the police station, and Jason pressed charges for attempted theft of company property, ensuring she'd spend some time behind bars. As for the receptionist who let her in, she was fired that same day. The alternative was facing a massive lawsuit. I thought the drama would end there. But the day before my wedding to Jason, a search term about Jason's fiancé went viral. An account named Brittany's World posted that every day with the person you love is a happy one. She also posted several gifs and photos. In the pictures, Brittany was lying on Jason's chest, looking intimate. If I didn't know the whole story, I might have actually been fooled by the photos. It seemed she really wouldn't stop until she got what she wanted. The internet was abuzz, with everyone saying how perfect they looked together. Some people even asked Brittany to do a live stream with Jason to show off their love. Brittany didn't give a direct answer, just a vague response. As a businessman, he prefers to stay out of the spotlight. I was so angry looking at my phone that I could have stomped my feet. Before I could even call our PR team to handle it, Jason called to explain. Honey, don't listen to any of that stuff online. It's all fake. Don't worry, I'll take care of it. Sure enough, half an hour later, a new topic exploded online. Jason had released a series of video evidence and police reports. On top of that, he posted a photo of the marriage license we had gotten just 2 days before. The caption read, "This is my wife. Please stop spreading false rumors." The narrative flipped instantly. Everyone flooded Brittany's account, calling her a disgusting homewrecker. Unable to handle the backlash, Brittany deleted her account. Because of the online drama, our wedding received a huge amount of attention. Countless people sent their blessings. Aside from Brittany, who was facing another lawsuit, everyone sincerely wished us a long and happy life together. A week after the wedding, my estranged father suddenly called. "You need to come over right now. I have something to tell you." Thinking about our strained relationship, I refused. "I'm busy." My father was not happy with that answer and became agitated. "You ungrateful girl. You didn't even tell me you were getting married, and now you're making excuses when I ask you to come over?" My tone remained cold. "David, if you have something to say, just say it." My father's anger immediately deflated, and his tone softened. "Your old dad has lived a messy life. I admit I was wrong to your mother, but she's been gone for so many years now." I lost my patience. "Get to the point." I'm in love. Since I met her, I've realized how wonderful the world can be. She's my true love, and I'm going to marry her." He said it with a dreamy tone that disgusted me. My mom died of an illness 10 years ago, when I was still in high school. My father was a good-for-nothing. As soon as she was gone, he wanted me to drop out of school. Thankfully, I was tough enough to fight back and stop him from marrying me off. After years of hard work, I became successful. When he got his leg broken by loan sharks over gambling debts, I paid them off out of a sense of filial duty. He promised to behave and never cause trouble again. And for the first few years, he did. He stayed out of trouble, tending to his little plot of land at home. But this year, he's become increasingly greedy, forgetting all his promises to me. When I didn't respond, his tone turned angry again. "As my daughter, you have to accept this. Your mother has been dead for 10 years. I want to find someone to share my later years with. What's wrong with that? Tonight, bring Jason over for dinner. You too can meet her. She's a gentle and kind woman. I thought about it for a moment and decided to go see this so-called true love. That evening, Jason and I drove to my father's place. It was a full hour from downtown. When we arrived, my father was alone in the kitchen, busy cooking. He'd spent the last few years trying to prove he was changing by studying cooking, and he had gotten quite good. He greeted Jason enthusiastically. "Jason, come in, sit down. We can eat as soon as everyone's here." He glanced at me. "You, come here. I need to talk to you." Even though I was annoyed by his attitude, I followed him. I wanted to see what he was up to. In the kitchen, my father slid the glass door shut and pulled a piece of paper from his pocket. "These are my girlfriend's demands. The gift isn't much, 50 grand, plus a car." I looked at the paper and frowned. That's asking for the moon. Are you sure this person is your true love? Besides, you haven't worked in years. Do you have that kind of money? He smirked at me with a malicious glint in his eye. "Well, there's you and Jason. 50 grand is pocket change for you too." I tensed up, my brow furrowed. "Do you have any idea how ridiculous you sound? Every cent you live on comes from me, and now you want me to pay for your wedding gift? Have you had it too easy these past few years? And another thing, your girlfriend knows your situation and she's still making these outrageous demands. Her intentions couldn't be more obvious. I'm not giving you a single one of these things. Don't even think about it." Seeing he couldn't get through to me, he gave up. I walked out of the kitchen with a stony face. Just as dinner was ready, the doorbell rang. I went to open it and saw someone I never expected, Brittany. My face fell, and I started to close the door, but my father rushed over and enthusiastically pulled her inside. "Brittany, you're finally here. I made your favorite sweet and sour ribs. I know you'll love them." Brittany shot me a defiant look. Does she not like me? Why the long face? I get it, I shouldn't have come. She pretended to leave. My father grabbed her arm and pushed me aside. They sat down at the dining table, and my father made a solemn announcement. "The girlfriend I told you about on the phone is Brittany. From now on, you will treat her with respect. She's technically going to be your mother." Brittany feigned an apologetic look. "Chloe, I'm so sorry. I had no idea David was your father. But we're truly in love." I rolled my eyes. "True love? What are you after? The fact that he's old or the fact that he doesn't shower? How disgusting can you be?" Brittany buried her face in my father's chest, looking hurt. "How can you misunderstand our feelings like this? You're tainting our pure love. David, maybe our love isn't meant to last. If your daughter doesn't welcome me, then I have no reason to be in this house. I'll leave right now." Brittany picked up her bag and turned to go. My father, frantic, grabbed her and pulled her into his arms. The sight of it made me sick. What a nightmare. Jason stepped in at the right moment. "If you two are really in love, we won't say anything more." "But, Dad, we're not giving you a cent of what you asked Chloe for earlier." Afraid his true love would be driven away, my father puffed out his chest and shouted, "Fine, don't give it. No one is going to drive my love away." Brittany's brow furrowed slightly, as if she wasn't pleased with his response. Jason and I had no desire to stay any longer and were about to leave. But Brittany shamelessly blocked our way. "Chloe, I'm your elder now. You should at least show your father some respect. Let's all have dinner together as a family before you go." She pointed outside. "Besides, it's raining now. It wouldn't be safe for you to drive back." It was true, driving in a downpour at night was dangerous, and I knew better than to be reckless. So, Jason and I returned to the table. Throughout the meal, my father doted on Brittany, serving her food and soup, terrified she might get tired or hungry. If it weren't for the huge age and appearance gap, I might have thought they were a loving couple. Jason and I ate in silence. The rain didn't let up, so we had no choice but to stay the night. In the middle of the night, I got thirsty and went to the living room to get some water. As I passed my father's room, the door was ajar, and I heard voices from inside. David, if not for yourself, you have to think about our child. 50 grand isn't a small amount. It's for our baby's future. Hearing this, I stopped and peeked through the crack in the door. Brittany, wearing a silk nightgown, was stroking her stomach. And the car, you have to get it. We'll need it to take the baby to school. And we have to fight for the house downtown, too. Whatever you want, my love. You're the light of my life. My father grinned like an idiot and planted a loud kiss on Brittany's cheek. She pushed him away with a barely concealed look of disgust. So, there was a baby on the way. Suddenly, everything clicked. A small smile played on my lips as I quietly got my water and went back to my room. I didn't sleep well all night in the strange environment. The next morning, seeing the dark circles under my eyes, a radiant Brittany made a point of showing off in front of Jason and me. Wow, you look so different without makeup. I can recommend some skincare products. Once a woman hits 28, you really have to start taking care of yourself, or your man might go looking for something new. Jason, eating his breakfast, glanced at her. Right. Unlike you, who uses tinted moisturizer as skincare. Be careful your face doesn't rot off. Brittany quickly touched her face. She didn't dare talk back to Jason, so she turned to me. Ma'am, I was just trying to give you some friendly advice. You don't have to be so hostile. We're going to have to live together peacefully, after all. Seeing Brittany's sad pout, my father's heart ached for her, and he scolded me. Brittany is your elder now. You must respect her. Oh, I said. So she's an elder? A minute ago it was ma'am this and ma'am that. Dad, anyone who didn't know better would think you got me a little sister. They both fell silent. As soon as Jason finished his breakfast, we left. I couldn't stand being there for another second. Before we even got home, I got a text from my father. Chloe, can you send this month's living expenses early? I want to take Brittany to look at wedding dresses. I rolled my eyes and transferred him $500. His call came immediately after. His furious voice came through the phone. You brat. You send me 2,000 or 3,000 every month. Why so little this time? How is Brittany supposed to try on wedding dresses with this? I calmly looked out the car window. If I gave you nothing, you'd have no right to complain either. I hung up right after saying my piece. After all these years, I no longer let these things get to me. This gold digger, Brittany, was targeting him for the money I gave him. I wanted to see if she would keep up her loving act once the money was gone. Jason glanced at me from the driver's seat. You don't have to come here anymore if you don't want to. We have our own home now. I nodded, touched. Thank God Jason had come into my life. After we got back, Jason and I both threw ourselves back into work. Half a month later, Brittany and my father sent us a wedding invitation. Looking at the tacky red invitation, I knew my father must be scraping the bottom of the barrel for this wedding. The savings he'd leached off me over the years were probably all gone, thanks to Brittany. For them to send us an invitation after everything that had happened, their motive was clearly more than just wanting us at the wedding. Seeing my cold expression, Jason took the invitation and tore it to shreds. I'll have someone send a big gift. You don't have to worry about anything else. Jason's gentle words moved me. I left the matter entirely in his hands and focused on my work. On the day of my father and Brittany's wedding, a new story went viral. CEO's father-in-law remarries, and the bride is her. Someone had deliberately used the Clark family name to publicize the wedding. Many netizens recognized the bride as the clout-chasing girl who had tried to get with Jason. The comments were brutal. Looks like she couldn't land the son, so she went for the father. Talk about scraping the bottom of the barrel. This is what they mean by, if I can't be your wife, I'll be your mother. So trashy. That old man could be her dad. How can she stand it? The internet was flooded with all kinds of comments, many of them calling Brittany shameless. The day the story broke, my father called me. He was furious. "Did you leak this to the press? Do you have any idea how much Brittany is crying right now? How could you do this? She's your stepmother, for God's sake." I could hear Brittany's sobs in the background. I laughed coldly. "Weren't you the one who invited all those reporters? Why are you blaming me now?" He had invited the reporters, but his goal was to clean up Brittany's image. He never expected it to blow up into a nationwide scandal. He would probably never know that the people stirring the pot online were all hired by Jason. "I don't care about any of that. You need to send me $1 million right now. I want to take Brittany on a honeymoon to relax." Their shamelessness was almost comical. I threatened him calmly, "I guess you don't want the 500 either. Fine by me. You're a married man now, in the prime of your life. You can go out and earn it yourself." The threat of losing his only $500 a month finally got to him. His attitude did a complete 180. "Chloe, we're father and daughter. It doesn't have to be like this. You don't want me to make a scene, do you? Let's meet in the middle. I just need 10,000, nothing more." Without a second thought, I hung up. The next day, I saw on his social media that he had taken Brittany to Miami after all. I just found it laughable. He was married to my mother for so many years and never treated her well, but now, just because Brittany mentioned it, he was willing to give her the world. Brittany and my father's glamorous life didn't last long. To give Brittany a good life, my father took a job as a security guard. One night, he had a stroke and was rushed to the hospital. They saved him just in time, but he was left paralyzed on one side of his body. Brittany, 7 months pregnant, ran from the hospital straight to mine and Jason's house. She stood there and told me defiantly, "The baby in my belly is your brother. You have to take me in." I stared thoughtfully at her belly, a sly look in my eyes, and nodded in agreement. However, she was not allowed on the second floor. If she went up there, she'd be kicked out. To ensure a peaceful pregnancy, Brittany agreed to stay in the maid's room on the first floor. That evening at dinner, Jason frowned and asked why I had let that woman into our home. I sent him a file. His eyes widened in shock. After all our years together, he understood immediately. So, Jason and I both started using working late as an excuse to stay in our apartment near the office, rarely setting foot in the house. After a month of treatment, my father's condition improved. He could stand and walk a little, and he could move a few of his fingers. But Brittany, using the baby as an excuse, refused to visit him at the hospital. My father wasn't disappointed by this. In fact, it only made him more convinced that Brittany's love for him was real. When my father was discharged, Brittany had no reason to stay at our house anymore and had to go back with him to the suburbs. After getting used to a nice house, Brittany was not about to lower her living standards. She started berating and cursing my father daily, telling him to just die already. My father could only endure it silently. Watching all of this, I nodded in satisfaction. On the day Brittany gave birth, my father found he could hold things with one hand. He was overjoyed and even went to wait outside the delivery room himself. I also went to the hospital, holding a stack of documents. The show was about to begin. Just as I arrived at the delivery room, Brittany was wheeled out, the baby lying beside her. The baby was incredibly ugly. You could see the parents' poor genetics. Seeing the child, my father limped over, wanting to hold the baby with his good hand. But before he could even touch the child, a weak Brittany slapped his hand away. "Are you disgusting? You're in this state, what if you drop my baby? Get away from him." My father flinched and took a step back. Brittany and the baby were wheeled into a private room. I let out a cold laugh and walked forward. Seeing me, my father's expression was complicated. "What are you doing here?" "Just came to see my so-called half-brother," I said nonchalantly. "Don't you dare do anything to him." My father, his speech still slurred, was afraid I would harm his child and tried to push me away. I didn't say anything more. I just handed him the file and went into the hospital room. Brittany was stunned to see me. Then, she proudly pointed to the baby in the bassinet. "Chloe, this is a Chen family heir, your future brother. Everything you have will have to be left to him." My eyes narrowed. Whether he's a Chen or not is still up for debate. And even if he is, all he'll inherit is that old house of David's. Brittany's face flushed with anger. "Humph, your dad said everything will go to the baby. You just wait. If you don't give it up, your dad will expose you and Jason to the media tonight." I didn't argue with her further. My purpose for coming today was already achieved. "Is that so? Brittany, what goes around comes around. All your dirty little secrets." I smiled, leaving the sentence unfinished, and turned to leave the room. The moment I opened the door, I saw my father, his eyes bloodshot, his good hand hidden behind his back. He limped unsteadily into the room. I stood by the doorway and watched. Seeing him enter, Brittany put on a pitiful expression. "Honey, didn't you say you'd find a way to get Chloe's assets? Our son is the only heir to the Chen family. Think of all the money he'll need to get ahead in life." "Ah." Before she could finish, my father whipped out the small paring knife he had been hiding and plunged it into her stomach. "You bitch. You dared to cheat on me. The baby isn't mine. And you cheated. Made me have a stroke. I'll kill you." He stammered out the words and went to stab her again. Brittany, now fighting for her life, pushed him away with a scream and scrambled to get away. I didn't want to watch anymore. I turned and dialed 911. Someone heard the commotion and came to see, only to scream in terror at the sight. Soon, the police arrived and took my crazed father away. Brittany took her child and fled back to her hometown in the countryside. She didn't dare stay. For one, she had no money, and for another, all the old men she had scammed were now looking for her. If she didn't leave, they would have torn her apart. Of course, she would never know that I was the one who had deliberately notified them. As soon as I found out she was marrying my father, I hired a private investigator to look into her. The investigation uncovered her long history of fraud. At 18, she dropped out of school without her rural parents knowing and came to the city determined to marry rich and change her fate. She styled herself as a socialite based on what she saw online and went to high-end clubs to find her prey. But she was naive. The men who went there for fun were never going to leave their families for her. So, she changed her strategy and started targeting older, widowed men with wealthy children. She scammed them out of their money and their hearts, causing chaos in their families. Her methods were astonishing. My father, sentenced to life in prison, called me. I refused to visit him. I had already done more than enough for him. Jason wrapped his arms around me, gently stroking my belly with a tender look in his eyes. "You need to work less overtime. It's not good for you." I frowned. "What's more important, the baby or me?" Jason immediately raised his hand in a solemn vow. "To me, you will always be number one." And in the years that followed, he proved it. The day our son got his SAT scores back, Jason and I took him to his favorite restaurant to celebrate. There, I ran into Brittany, whom I hadn't seen in years. She was only in her 40s, but she looked worn down by life, with graying temples. She was on her knees, begging a young, unattractive man for something. I don't know what was said, but the young man kicked her away and turned to leave. Brittany shakily got to her feet. Our eyes met, and for a moment, she looked completely lost. Then, she covered her face and ran away. In that moment, all I felt was pity. If she hadn't tried to use those tricks to take things that didn't belong to her, her life might not have turned out so miserably. But none of that had anything to do with me anymore. I took my son's and Jason's arms, and we walked into the restaurant to celebrate my child's future.